Hey there, Marco. Here we go. Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you, counselor.
Right on, right on. So what a slate today. Um, 16 games on this schedule, including a couple home and home doubleheaders played in the same ballparks. 16 games, which perhaps it's coincidence, perhaps not. We don't reveal our algorithm here. All we need to know, all we need to know is that we are now officially, according to Picks for Sticks, 16% of the way through the season.
Whoa, inching back up to that hef of 17. So you machined the algorithms as you always do with your proprietary methods, and we're at 16. I love that. I noticed you talked about the double headers, and there were two of them, sets of them going up in Camden Yards, and then I guess what, the other one was in Philly, or it was Philly, but in where?
Who knows? One team was home, one team was away.
That's true.
Who knows?
But that was a dumb question. I will retract that question. But I just want to quickly add, because we're going to move and we're going to fly through this show. I'm going to quickly add to the promises segment that we will never promise how many times history has been made since we're not even in a goddamn season. I'm sorry for getting blue there, because, I mean, you told me, don't go blue, Marco. That's what killed Dennis Day. Don't go blue. But I did. I had to. They earned it. We promised not to say how many times they made history with these double headers and this and that and in the same park. It's not a season, Michael. What is it?
It's a tournament.
Nice. Thank you. So no history is being made in the MLB. So 16%, that's heft. That's as much heft as 17 by less than 1%.
Exactly. See, we're good at math. So nobody should doubt our numbers.
No. Never.
So we put out 3 plays today. The first play was an earlier play, and we go to 3-0 on our first read, pick, spot, read, play spots. Is that the segment?
Something like that. I knew if I told you to say spot play that you would make a bit out of it. So I earned that one. I earned that. Yeah, the first read spot play. I put you on the spot. It's a spot play. It's right within the segment of you doing first reads. It's not that hard to remember. It's a spot play. I put you on the spot, the first read spot. Let's just call it the first read spots, or what you said.
We're 3-0.
That's all I care about. You know why? I have a tendency to get excited, and I've jinxed my share of games, but we can cash that ticket. Right?
We can cash that ticket, but I want to talk about that play for a minute because I'm proud of that play. In the first read spot, we set up the excitement, we looked through it, and you were talking about the finding Pittsburgh, and we were really going into this to try to find a way to make the play on Pittsburgh. And I really looked into it. I did all sorts of analysis, and I just couldn't find an angle for Pittsburgh. I was looking at team totals. I was looking at first 5 innings. I was just trying to really squeeze a Pittsburgh play out of this. Mm-hmm. And it turned out to be the game I handicapped the most and the game I looked into the most and spent the most amount of time on. And so I thank you for that, because without you really identifying that game, I just would not have appreciated how good Dobnik really is, because his stuff isn't that good. This is just a guy who now has a large enough sample that the bottom line is he just knows how to pitch. And knowing how to pitch in Major League Baseball is a little bit more important than your stuff, unless your stuff is just phenom level stuff, you know? So
does that work again? Phenom.
Yes. Yes.
Let me interject real quick. Number one, it's not my intention to make you work hard, but I'm glad you did, because I love to cash the ticket. But number two, I try to pick a game that's organically exciting for me as I glean from the first read, because I'm hearing it for the first time, and it's hopeful, because I'm more hopeful that you'll be able to take that game and put together some type of handicapping that, even if it's like the 5-inning one that we won the other day, or if it's the under, or some creative spin on just that game, not putting it in a parlay, not doing any of that BS.
Right.
And the magic that you do is you machine the algorithms and take what I get excited about, which is good because sports are exciting. I'm not going to apologize for that. But what you do is you make it exciting throughout the whole play that you create, that you design. And the idea is that whoever takes that play is going to be in it till the end. I had some of our listeners talking to me like, it's, could go either way, Marco, could go either way. And the second point that I want to make is that obviously I was leaning towards Pittsburgh, and that wasn't any science. That was probably me subtly rooting for a team that I like, a city that I like, but also knowing that team and thinking that Williams was going to come out and pitch well, which he did. So together we pulled that out of our so-called blanks, and not really, because you did the first read. I absorbed it, and then you spent hours putting together the play. And the last thing I want to say about it is I thought when you said he had a big enough sample, Dominic, I thought you were going to say we finally know he has a big enough stash.
I was going to say, I'm sitting here waiting for you to finish your eloquent point and so well articulated that if you didn't have a punchline at the end, I was going to say directly that when you talk that long, you better have a punchline at the end. But if you don't, at least you were complimenting me, so I'm not going to complain. But you not only complimented me, you had a punchline. So that's as good as it gets, Marco. And that's that kind of show we're doing. The show we're doing is exactly, and that reminds me, I'd like to talk
that play is as good as it gets. That play, Pittsburgh game with you picking Dobnik and then taking the chalk, that play is as good as it gets.
Yeah. So I'm now motivated and inspired to talk about my visit to the rheumatologist today. So we'll have to get into that. But the other two plays we have are the Dodgers, a small favorite, and San Diego's putting up some runs here in the sixth, making it a bit of a ball game, but the Dodgers are up 7-4. And we have Oakland at home. They'll get the last at bat. Texas has put up 4 runs, and frankly, the play is based on Oakland scoring more than 4. So they're down 4-3, but we're in okay shape heading here into the back half of those games. We'll see how they finish.
It's in the seventh. It's in the 7th in Oakland.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's this time. It's not a doubleheader.
Yeah, exactly.
I saw some reporter at Camden Yards today try to steal my joke about Ernie Banks, but his wasn't as funny. He said, if Ernie Banks were alive today, he said, let's play 3. I don't even get it. It's not as funny as 1.5. Anyway, let me just say real quick, since I was watching that game, I wanted to say something. I mean, it surprised me because I actually had the sound on. I was doing some work, regular work, and I had that on in the background because started early the first game, and I hear coming up the back, Chris Ravers, and I'm thinking, why do they have an announcer in an empty stadium?
Yeah.
It's amazing to me. I mean, I understand we talked about the iPad and the 93 different sounds on the for the thing, but that was a real stadium announcer next to a real organist, and it boggled my mind because the players know who's up, the players know what's going on, they got the lists, they're there. I mean, people are engaged. The games have been fun. I mean,
I looked into this.
I did too. Did you want who wants to go first?
You.
Okay, because mine's related only to Baltimore.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so I did some research and I saw that it's because there are a group of let's just say older gentlemen, and Baltimore Oriole fans are amongst the best. And these guys started going to Memorial Stadium since the 59, I think, is when they started playing there, and then Camden Yards, I think in 91 or something like that is when that opened. And these guys are still kicking. They're old, but they're still vibrant. They're still full of baseball. And they call themselves the Baltimore Scorers. And they say, like, you know, how people say Baltimore in Baltimore, the Balmore, like Balmor. So they call themselves the Baltimore Scorers. And since they're very well known in Charm City, and it's a quaint kind of city, even though it's, you know, a mid-level metropolis, they were able to actually get a waiver to hang out outside the stadium and be able to score the games. And Hogan, who's the governor, in his best interest of these guys, made sure that they had a stadium announcer so they could keep real good direction on how they were scoring it, which players were doing what. But the one caveat was that they had to go through the protocol of the professionals. And so today it got a little weird because, you know, they're in line to get their test. And I think, you know, one of the young guys, I don't know if it was Chance Cisco or Hayes or whatever, said, "Hey, look, you guys are supposed to be over in the Marlins line." I guess they thought they were some of the guys that the Marlins had to get as free agents. But the Baltimore Scorers. The Baltimore Scorers. That's why they have stadium announcers in Camden Yards. The Baltimore Scorers.
Mattingly would not have been able to recognize them.
Well, go ahead. I mean, that's the research I did on those guys. Some of them with fake beards too, by the way. So they're actually really sticking with the protocol.
Yeah, and it's in their the walk-up music, all that's in their contracts.
Yes.
It's in the contracts.
All more scores. Go ahead. Yeah, so now's the time to talk about it if you wanted to talk about stadium announcers, because we have a busy show.
I did. That was the point. It's in their contracts.
Oh, it's in their contracts. So I thought it was in the contracts for the Baltimore Scorers that they're going to get stadium announcers.
Sorry, I didn't have 8 minutes on the whole setup. Sorry. I just had one sentence.
I get it. All right. Go ahead. I get it.
We head to the 7th in San Diego with the Dodgers up 7-4. Bottom of the 7th with Oakland down 1.
Down 1. They scored another one.
Yeah. So TV ratings are up huge on all sports, not just in the Major League Baseball, but all sports right now. TV ratings are all up all over the place. And so this was a poll conducted by one of the polling firms that does all sorts of polling. And what they've, based on the ratings. So they got the ratings and then they called or talked to, I don't know how they do polls. I only have a political science degree. And so you would think I would understand polling, but it's not a master's in political science. So I don't know.
Nobody understands polling. Trump won, remember?
Oh, but the polls were right. So.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Nobody understands it. They think they're right. Everybody thought they were right. Nobody understands what's going on with polls. They're always wrong, and they're hard to keep track of.
Yeah, that's a different podcast, I think.
What a downer that was. I'm sorry.
But the point was that people are watching, but nobody knows like who's in first place in any division. Nobody knows the format of the NHL playoffs and the round robin, whatever that is. And nobody knows the basketball rankings and who's in first. People are just watching sports, which reminds me that, look, people, and this is to the people. Day one, it was okay to root for balls, strikes, and just baseball. But now you got to hone in and get serious because it's a tournament. It's a tournament, Marco. So I wanted to make that point that if you don't know who's in first place in whatever division or your team, you're not doing it correctly.
Well, they're not on your list, first of all. They need to get on the Picks for Sticks list, and then that's where we need them to go. But you're right. At some point, you got to bear down because
right?
I mean, it's fun and games for a while. Things are new, but hey, it's still baseball. It's not a season, but it's still baseball. We have the Dazzy Bands to look forward to. We got the tournament to look forward to. We got the most interesting playoff scenario with 16 teams in these 3-game playoffs, all home team advantage, but we talked about home team advantage not even being a thing, and just as pitchers to be determined is redundant because everything, the whole season's to be determined. But right. I guess I just real quick, I did take long on that Baltimore scores thing, but I love those guys. You got to see them. They're cool. Yeah, I'll send you a pic. But I get excited. I do Zoom meetings for my regular job. I'm a lawyer, and so I have to do Zoom meetings sometimes. And so we had a meeting today, and I was just talking to people when there was a little time not to have to talk about work for a second. And I was like, so what do you think? You think the season? I would have never said that. I stopped myself just in time. Don't worry about the prizes. I said, do you think the tournament's going to go till Monday? Because that'll be the next meeting that we have to follow up on this meeting. And everybody's like, no, And then this one guy is a pretty sharp guy. Sad he happens to be a Sox fan, Boston Sox fan, but he's like, Marco, we're in bonus baseball right now, so I'm just taking it. And I thought to myself, are we really just in bonus baseball? I mean, if Manfred would have really held on to the protocols that they took to negotiate so diligently, I think we'd be in the stands by now watching games. I think things would be so much better, but he's not even following the rules that they lay out. For example, we talked about spitting myriad times, you with Dr. Doug. We talked about beards. These guys shouldn't have beards. Today, I noticed, again, it was the Oriole game. Mattingly comes out, the skipper comes out to jack the pitcher out, and the pitcher hands him the ball. Why is he handing Mattingly the ball? I saw Mattingly actually flinch, like he didn't want to, like, I don't want that COVID-infested piece of beep, And then, there was confusion up there and everything's going on. What I'm thinking is all they have to do is follow the rules. And now they got this facade where they have to, by tomorrow, reduce the rosters to 28. But now there was a huge negotiation that they're going to keep it at 28 and not eventually bring it down to 26. And then they're going to add a couple more to the taxi squad, but they're not even using the guys they have in the alternate 30. I mean, freshly wrapped guys. Today, the Marlins put up the lineup against the Orioles that had three guys that made their major league debut, and one of them was Eddie Alvarez, that was a former speed skater and never played the game until he was like 28 years old. And they still won.
They got the win. Yep.
They're 5-1 as far as I could tell.
But so this is probably our first actual disagreement, legitimate disagreement. Not only do I disagree about Manfred, I've totally rethought my entire perspective on Manfred, and I'm actually going to give him an ahoy hoy.
Oh wow! Ahoy to Manfred, right after I get annoyed with him, you're going to say, all right.
So he was explaining to ESPN today. And gave so this is my ahoy hoy to him. He said that we learned from both the Marlins and the Cardinals when you're aggressive about taking games down, which just a phrase I love so much, aggressive about taking games down. And I'll tell you why I love that so much in just a minute. And getting through that period of time until you don't have any more of the positive tests, there's benefit long-term to keeping and he calls it a season, the tournament moving. We are encouraged by the fact that we've never had any cross-contamination. And he bragged about not following the protocols. And so all I can say is, today, 16 games on the slate. Never have 16 games on a slate. In addition to that, you got home, and nobody knows which home is whose home. And on top of that, he is still threatening to take games down, which is going to result in so many more of these 7-inning doubleheaders. I can't wait till the first 7-inning doubleheader goes extra innings into 9 innings. And I just want more of this. So I give an ahoy hoy to Manfred. Don't follow any protocols. You're the dictator. Don't listen to anybody. You keep the season, because that's what he's calling it, moving, take games down, double headers, 7 innings, and Elias Sports Bureau came out independently making an announcement. When does Elias Sports ever come out? They're the statisticians. And they said, we ain't giving anyone credit for a no-hitter or perfect game if it's a 7-inning doubleheader. It's like, you guys don't even have to express that. We know that. And we know that if a game goes 9 innings and somebody hasn't won and they've got a complete a no-hitter or a perfect game, if it goes into extra innings and somebody gets a run in the 10th, they don't get credit either. So sit down, Elias Sports.
Sit down,
Take your traditions, go away, come back next year. This is relax, Elias. So there's my shout out, my boy to Manfred.
Amen, brother. That was powerful. I'll just have 2 quick responses. One, Elias Sports, also known for writing somewhere that Willie Stargell is the 90th best left-handed first baseman of all time as well. So they got that in their book somewhere. And as far as my guy from work, you worked me up into a lather. I agree 100% with what you're saying. So I don't agree with the guy at work that says bonus baseball. I don't agree with me to say that Manfred is screwing up. We're playing Manfred baseball.
Yes.
We're playing Manfred baseball.
Excellent. So
all right. Let's move on, man, because we're flying. We're floating now. What's going on? Did Oakland come back to win yet?
Well, they came back and they got the lead 5-4 at the end.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
I just want to tell all the viewers that I'm not watching any of this. When I ask you, I'm asking you for real. I'm not trying to jinx anything.
No, that was great.
That was awesome. I mean, you have time to talk about Gatorade at all, or should we go right to the first reads?
No, Gatorade. I want to do my polemic because we just talked about the Oakland A's, and it all relates to the Oakland A's, and they just took the lead. But I am so upset and angry with these Oakland A's. So yesterday they won the game with a walk-off grand slam. And this is a question for Elias Sports. Why does the grand slam count as a 4-run RBI? I get it, the ball's over the fence, but as soon as the guy crosses the plate from second base, right, whatever the winning run is, game over, it should end. The guy should only get credit for a single. Elias Sports and your traditions don't care how far it goes, right? If it bounces off the wall, it's only a single. The game's over. So Elias Sports needs some rethinking on a number of things. But Elias Sports is innocent on this point because when the grand slam was hit, which is interesting enough on its own that this is the second game the Oakland A's have won in extra innings with a grand slam. So one time is pretty impressive, twice is pretty celebratory. And the guy working the sound, he starts playing Celebration, which he should absolutely not be doing because all that influences. And so the A's are all happy, and now celebration time is kicking on, and the guys are all running around the bases, and they start celebrating, Marco, with actual high fives, actual things. And 2 of the Oakland A's players grab the Gatorade. Grab the Gatorade. So first, the sound guy. This is a whole combination of errors. Like when a plane crashes, it isn't just one thing goes wrong. It's like all things go wrong. And so they grab the Gatorade, 2 guys, and so they're holding it and they're walking it out. And the whole celebration is awkward as it is because they know in the back of their minds they shouldn't be celebrating. And then they douse the guy with Gatorade, but they don't really douse him because they know they shouldn't. And so it's the most pathetic Gatorade dousing ever, but they got the Gatorade and they miss him, and then the celebration continues. And so, which also begs the question, why do they even have Gatorade? It should be bone broth to keep them healthy, and it should be a thing full of bone broth, not Gatorade. So should be kettle of
boosting bone broth, and nobody's gonna dare throwing steaming bone broth onto another player. They'll know not to even pick it up because they could scald themselves.
Exactly. And so with all that said, I'll end the polemic by saying it would be nice if Oakland gets this win and we cash this ticket, because I think the Oakland A's are going to be the next team to have an outbreak.
Oh boy, that puts a damper in your them taking the West, and you've been talking for a week now about how they're going to walk away with the West. This is going to. No wonder you're so upset about it, because this is a team that you have high hopes for plays down the road.
They'll just be sidelined for a week.
That's true.
We've seen these teams come back from that quarantine refreshed and ready to go.
Yeah, I guess these Marlins are 5-1. So how does it look in the Oakland game right now?
Texas has a guy on to start the 8th. We'll see.
So they're still up by 1. This has been one of your best shows ever, but I don't want to take any steam out of you, because
I want to talk about the trip I had to the rheumatologist today.
You want to go do that before first reads? You think you have the energy for this and first reads?
Yeah, first read should end the show.
We're almost at the end.
Yeah. So I go to the rheumatologist today, and those viewers who are watching us each day will know that I went to my general practitioner yesterday, and instead of worrying about my health, they should be thinking, of course, you get in all your doctor's visits all in a row, so that you're not having to spread them out through time, and you manage your calendar. It's like a road trip, So
yes,
I go to the rheumatologist, and it's in a different medical plaza, so they don't have it all COVID sterilized and everything.
Nothing like the Korean doctor we heard about yesterday, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know what his nationality is. He's just a guy. But
I'm sorry, man, for bringing nationality in it, man.
I mean, and so I go to this rheumatologist, and he's 73, 74 years old, and he's sitting 8 feet away from me. Never gave me the option of sitting on the table or not.
At the bench with the paper towel, right?
Well, with the paper. And so I'm sitting in the chair, and he's sitting a good 8 feet away, kind of by his window, to the point where I'm almost like uncomfortable about how far away he is. But it's all good. And he says to me, "So, Michael, I have to tell you, I am retiring." And I said, "Hey, that's great. Congratulations." I'm not even immediately thinking I need a new rheumatologist. And so he says, after I say congratulations, he says, "So what are you going to do?" And I'm thinking, what am I going to do? I said, I guess I'll get you a gift. I don't know, what am I going to do? I guess I'll get you a gift. And he goes, no. I mean, in regard to a new rheumatologist. And I say to him, "Oh, I hadn't thought about that. I guess I'll get a new rheumatologist." And he goes, "Well, here's the thing. The thing is, I know you do the butcher box, and we've been tracking your inflammation since you started on the butcher box, and you've gone from problematic to being one of the healthiest people that I've ever seen. And so if you go to a new rheumatologist, they may not think you have any of the problems that require you to be on this very serious medication, because your numbers are going to be so good. So I suggest you go to the person who's buying my practice, and that way there will be a connection with him, and he'll understand your past history." And I said, "Yeah, it makes sense to me." He said, "But there's only one problem." And I said, "What's that?" He said, "Well, he's in Walnut, California." I said, "Walnut? That's above San Francisco. That's like 400 miles away." And he says, "Well, that's who you should go see." And I said, "What?" I said, "Come on. I don't think I'm going to make it up to Walnut, California. And as far as your gift goes, I'll have it for you tomorrow."
Yes.
What's going on there, Marco?
With me stepping on your punchlines?
No, you didn't.
Well, with the rheumatologist. It's a strange thing, but I think really what he's telling you, but as a lawyer, I always have to think of malpractice. What he's telling you is you don't need a rheumatologist anymore in a certain sort of way, because nobody's even traveling 2 miles these days. What are you going to do? You're going to get on the high-speed train that's never going to be built, or are you going to get on a crowded plane to San Francisco and then rent a car and then go to? I think he's saying in a way that keeps him safe from getting sued in his old age, that you don't have to go anymore. That your numbers are so good. That's what I glean from it. And I think he really likes cake, and so that he probably should.
It's pretty.
But I glean from it. Hey man, let's go to first reads now that we still have momentum. I mean, after all this work that you've done, can you do first reads right now?
Sure. It's a short slate tomorrow with a lot of the action already wrapped up, and I can go back and reference it.
My favorite part of the show.
So tomorrow it starts early. Marco. First game goes at 10:30 Pacific Standard Time, and that's the third game. And these are a lot of games that wrap up. I don't know if there's any first games tomorrow in series. I think they're all wrap-up games. We'll see as we go through. And the first game at 10:30 in the morning, that's breakfast and eggs, and that's it's like a Sunday game. We got Minnesota in Pittsburgh, and so if Pittsburgh's going to get one and not get swept, it's got to be tomorrow. So Minnesota got their win, but it was a tight game. Most of the game wasn't until the very end that they broke through. And so what kind of lineup is Minnesota going to put out in Game 3? They're already what is their record on you? They're 10-2 against the 2-10 Pirates. So this is a game Minnesota. This could be a trap game. Minnesota's got Maeda going. He's fine. He's an excellent pitcher. But are they thinking ahead? What are they doing on Friday? Minnesota goes to Kansas City. So they trying to get out of town early. It's an early game. They're trying to get out of town. And Pittsburgh's going to put everything on the table to try not to get swept. Colorado and San Francisco go at noon. And so what's going on there?
That's in Colorado, right?
Yeah. So they've split the series. The game tomorrow is Friedland, who has been outstanding and is outstanding at home. And he's got only a 1.5 ERA. He's going to really make a pitch for the Dazzy to move up in that board. And guess who is pitching for San Francisco?
I wish it were Smarsden, but I'm going to say to be determined.
That's exactly right. To be determined. And so San Francisco is at 5-7. Colorado's 8-2. It's the rubber game in the series with Friedland going. I don't know how San Francisco does against left-handed bats, but first read of this is San Francisco on Friday will be heading to LA. So they're traveling. They're trying to get out of town. I'm not seeing it boding well for them. Texas and Oakland, they wrap it up, but that game isn't over yet, and Texas is trying to make a run at this game. So they will finish tonight, and then they're up early tomorrow and playing 12:30 start against Oakland, minor against Fears, and depending on how tonight goes, will shape tomorrow's rubber game in that series, right?
Yeah.
Any questions about those three, or should we keep?
No, I mean, there's more games tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
None of those games entice me as far as the spot play, because I don't have a pitcher in San Francisco. I don't have a conclusion in this game, and I'm staying far away from Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh could either completely implode or, I don't know. I don't even want to go near that game, so I'm not even interested in making a spot. I mean, there might be some handicapping we do on those, but as far as getting excited, I'm not excited about a spot play for any of those.
So the Angels are in Seattle, and that's another day game because both teams begin a new series on Friday with the Angels going into Texas and Seattle hosting Colorado. So actually in the San Francisco-Colorado game, both teams are heading out. But the Angels right now are what is their record? They're 4-7 and Seattle's 4-8. Both of these teams are even. Right now the game is 4-3 into the 7th. So that game's going to go all the way down the stretch. It's going to be tight. Yeah. And the Angels won the first one. If the Angels pull this out, then they'll go for the sweep, maybe save their season. Although there's no way to predict what's going to happen here with full 3 innings left.
Yeah, it's a full 3 innings. I think Teheran was manageable today, right?
What's that?
Teheran or whatever his name is was manageable today, right, for the Halos. How do you say his name? The pitcher for the Halos, Teheran.
Oh, Tehran, I think.
I said Tehran, you say Tehran. All right, so who's pitching tomorrow for the teams, Halos and the Grand Mariners?
Oh, it's a great pitching matchup. It's Bundy against Walker.
All right, do your next righties. Go to the next game, but I'm pretty sure I know what I want to do for my spot.
The Yankees
we need to finish the reads.
Yankees Phillies tomorrow. They play the final game in their series. It's in Philadelphia, or Philadelphia is the home team in New York. Who the hell knows? And Philadelphia is 2-4. They split the doubleheader, and the Yankees are just crushing it at 9-2. Cincinnati and Cleveland wrap up their series. Clevenger, excellent tonight. Just not a lot of scoring going on in that series. The 5-7 Reds against the 7-6 Tribe looking to close out that series with a win. Therefore, to win the series, they have Carrasco at 1-1 going against what I think is Cincinnati's ace. I do. I think Castillo is their best pitcher. So one looks at that game again and wonders, 3 runs probably wins it, 3-4 runs. The Cubs in Kansas City. We start to move into the evening games. Chatwood against Keller. I don't know Keller, so I'll have to look into him. Chatwood has been outstanding, pitching above his pay grade, I think. But the Cubs just keep winning. They keep winning. So I don't know how Kansas City's going to be behind a pitcher I'm not familiar with and actually get a win. But maybe there's some spark that he has that the Cubs haven't seen, that he can handcuff them, and God only knows what kind of lineup the Cubs at 9-2 will be.
I mean, I stay away from that game. I stay away from Pittsburgh, Minnesota. I mean, I could easily see another blowout, of Chicago blowing out Kansas City and Minnesota blowing out Pittsburgh. I feel defeated after they put so much into the game today, especially the Pittsburgh, and then it just went so bad in the ninth.
Yeah, but both of those. Both teams, Minnesota and Chicago, are going to be very expensive tomorrow. Yeah. So tough to put your money on.
You might find some plays here and there on any of those games, but I'm just mostly thinking about the excitement for me.
I know. Well, exciting game tomorrow for sure is Houston and Arizona, where it looks like Arizona, what would happen tonight in that game? Arizona is just all over Houston. They're beating them 12-6. And so that game will decide, can Arizona sneak out a series win tomorrow, or is Houston going to show that they're just the better team? Toronto and Atlanta. Toronto, your guy Ryu.
Let's go with Ryu.
Ryu. He was excellent today. He looked to be in his classic form and shut down that powerful offensive juggernaut that has been Atlanta this season. And so Toronto will be behind the young phenom Pearson tomorrow.
That's a fun game. These days, the phenom. There's 2 phenoms right now. Can Dustin May be considered a phenom? Because we've known about him for a while. I guess May can't be considered a phenom, but Pearson's considered a phenom.
Yeah.
He continues.
So Toussaint goes for Atlanta, and if Toronto is going to get some runs, it'd probably be against Touki Toussaint, is I think how you say his name. He brings in
that was beautiful. I mean,
he brings in his over 8 ERA, and so So that's
those are some games, man. Those are some fun games, and we have more.
Only 2 more on the slate. Baltimore goes against Miami. where it looks like the game goes down to Miami. It looks like they're flying down to Miami for the game. And I wonder, are they playing on Friday? No. So this is interesting. I wonder if the game is being played in Camden with Miami.
It's being played in Camden. I don't want to interrupt you, but there's no way they're going down to Miami.
Right, just for the night. So Miami will be the home team. Miami with their dominating 5-1 record against the seemingly anemic O's who have just disappeared here.
Their fate is as bad as Chris Davis's swing. I mean,
right.
Right. And I was excited about them, but you call probably the fade on them, reluctantly because you know that I get agitated.
Yeah.
Call the fade on them.
And so
all of a sudden I'm quiet, I'm sad. But no, this has been a great show. I forget about the Orioles.
So Baltimore gets to host Miami on the road at home tomorrow.
Hey, man, this is Manfred baseball. This isn't bonus baseball. This isn't. This has been Fred baseball, man.
Right. And so Miami's pitcher is to be determined against LeBlanc, but I think the entire Miami lineup is to be determined. But I don't know what else to say about that game at this point.
Yeah, it's depressing.
And the late game is
a show. I don't want to drag myself down with these Orioles.
Right. And so the late game is the 5 p.m. start between two teams that are really difficult to understand. Yelich got the day off from Milwaukee today just to think about what a terrible start he's had. And the White Sox are they got this incredibly potent lineup, and they're either on fire or they're cold as ice. And tomorrow they match up again. Lindblom against Gonzalez, and it should be the rubber game in that series with Milwaukee trying to get to 500 and the White Sox trying to be more consistent. And that's your slate, Marco.
That is an excellent first read, but you and I both know that I'm going to ask you on the spot for the first read spot play to do that Angels-Seattle game. You know I'm going to do that. You knew I was going to do that. A day game, two teams evenly matched. I like both teams. I like this Bundy. I'll probably be watching the game while I work from the virtual desktop. You knew I was going to pick that game.
Well, that game stands out as the most interesting. And if whether the Angels win tonight or Seattle wins tonight, this is a game that's going down to the wire with the teams fighting.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, it's exactly what we want to gain from the first read spot pick. So that's it. That's the one I'm going to make.
So if the Angels win, Seattle. If the Angels win, Seattle be at home, trying not to get swept at home. And if Seattle pulls off the win tonight, then the game is even more important for the rubber game of the series, with both teams going with their really pitchers who have been the strongest so far for them.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. I can't wait to man, you got an early morning tomorrow with getting, because you got to get these plays out. I feel badly. I should have picked one of the late games just to give you a break. I'm trying to kill you. Anyway, we had a great show. I love the way I like the briskness of the show. I like the fact that we're still in double digits on the percentage of the season. We're still tournament. We're 16% through the tournament. Manfred baseball. We got a small slate, but an interesting slate of games tomorrow. I expect interesting picks. Michael has made a commitment that he will put together a play on the Seattle, the Angel in Seattle game tomorrow afternoon, everybody. And I'm ready to say goodbye because I got to get to bed so I can get up and get some of these games in.
Yeah. So I'll just say before we head out that Oakland has taken a 6-4 lead over Texas in the bottom of the 8th, which will leave Texas with only one at bat. The Dodgers remain up 7-4 heading into the bottom of the 8th. And so we sit here as we say goodnight in position to have our first 3-0 game or 3-0 day. That's where we're positioned. And whatever happens towards the end of these games, if they fall apart, I want to tell the viewers that I'm really feeling good about the handicapping, the analysis, and even when we're suffering losses, it's a rare game that is just a misread. So
and or in history. But yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out. That because I don't have the scores in front of me, man. And I'll just add that those two other games look good, but I'm happy to say that no matter what happens, we cashed one ticket already, big boy.
We did. Yes, we did.
All right, good night, Michael.
See you tomorrow, Marco.
Tomorrow, man.
Good night.
Good night.